I'm here with Dr. Ashley Ochsner, and we've just finished your clinic, or you just finished your clinic about
Yes.
A month ago, 6 weeks ago, moved in, and you worked with us. And so how'd you find us? Let's just go through some general questions and we'll talk.
I found CrossFields through a referral. And ironically, I'd already seen when I was doing some browsing for office design pictures and ideas and stuff for a chiropractic office, I started seeing the same pictures that after I got referred to you, and I was looking, I go, oh, I saw that picture. Oh, I saw that picture. Okay. So that was reassuring to know that you guys were, out there. But I was referred by a doctor who ironically hadn't used you yet, but his good friend had, Dr. Austin. So yes. Vince Bertolini referred me to you through him.
That's right. That's right. Because Vince was a student and he had graduated, and
correct.
We hadn't actually used him.
Right.
So you found us, and then so you've opened 4 or 5 other clinics. So
yes.
Why did you want somebody this time?
A few reasons. The main reason was I was on an extremely short timeline this time around. To turn it around, I really felt I needed some professional guidance, help, and just someone who's really, really versed at this. As well, given that while I had opened up multiple other clinics, this clinic's my personal clinic that I practice out of. I wanted it this time. This was its 3rd location. I had moved a couple times. I wanted this one to be like awesome, like exactly what I envisioned, and really pull it off. So I thought, you know what, let's bring in the pros.
What was your biggest fear about hiring a designer?
Biggest fear for me is at least I've been told I'm a control freak, so I want to do everything. And maybe not control freak as much as I am kind of jack of all trades. I try to have my hand in everything. So with that being said, that would be my, I just wanted somebody to kind of lead the way.
Well, how in the very beginning, knowing that, how in the very beginning did we ease your concern so that you made a decision to go ahead and hire us? What was the...
That's a good question. I don't know if there was like one specific thing that kind of put me to that. I think it was just the fact that I saw your credibility, experience, and then your portfolio, and I was like, I'm one of those guys going, all right, they know what they're doing. Okay. I'll trust, you know what I mean? And then at that point, I'll just quote unquote buy or, trust.
So what we did for you is we started out by talking about just you were going to relocate, and we did our first initial service with you just to determine square footage requirements and help you get really clear on that.
Yes.
And that was something I remember you saying was just you'd never gone through before.
Yes.
And
that was eye-opening. So I forget the tool you call that you guys use. It's the spreadsheet.
It was an Excel spreadsheet, yeah.
And you add up how much space is required for each kind of area in your practice. I never got to that level of detail. I just kind of, winged it. Oh, that looks big enough for some adjusting tables. We'll just make that work. That's how I used to do it. But then when you guys laid out the spreadsheet, it really showed me my wish list of what I would really need for square footage versus, okay, here's what you absolutely have to have. So it was cool to see definitively in detail exactly what I would need in square footage. That was powerful.
Right. And what I remember is it was a pretty big range.
Yes.
Yes, it was very, very minimal, probably even bigger than what you ended up with, I think.
Yeah.
And then your largest was pretty big, and you had some spaces you were looking at that were in that square footage range.
Right.
So we started with those, and we did some space plans on those. I think we did space plans on 3 different spaces, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And this one was the smallest of them.
Correct.
But so our goal was to help you discern through that process the pros and cons of making a decision before you signed a lease on a space.
Yes.
So did that help?
It helped a ton because, quite honestly, if I wouldn't have gone through that process and I was just going to kind of go off my gut of the 3 spaces, I would have gone with one of the other 2. Which one, I'm not 100% certain, but it wouldn't have been this one, which now that I'm in here, I'm like, this is exactly where I should be, and it's the right spot.
Right. I remember one of the spaces you really wanted to make work was you could purchase it It was a condo,
right.
But it was very broken up. It had a lot of restrictions, and it was going to cost a lot of money to remodel. Right. I remember that one.
A great location, good visibility. Yeah, it had all that, but it just functionally was going to be.
And for you to do it, you were going to have to get it and start over. It was going to be a lot more than you wanted to put out. And then the other one was really big, and it had some aesthetic adventures features and things that you liked. But it was also going to take a lot of guts.
That was a huge project. Yeah, I think the demo alone was going to be like, it was crazy because it was a tanning salon, so there was all this electrical demo. We're in the right place, and I probably would still be doing a build out somewhere if it wasn't for your process.
So let's see, we took you through that. We did the space plan, and then you worked with your contractor to get the construction done.
Right.
You didn't really use us. Then you came back to us and we helped you with some finishes and some fine tuning in your faces.
That's okay.
We helped you with some finishes and some fine tuning.
Right.
And things of that sort. So okay, so you're here and you're functioning well and flowing well and things are good.
Absolutely.
Physically, I mean the function and
it's wonderful. It's so efficient. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I'm excited, and I say that because we went from 3 adjusting bays to 2 in this location, and we're still clicking on all cylinders. In fact, it was an adjustment to handle a few different challenges we did run into to solve. But once we have, it's awesome. Yeah.
One of the things that we talked about at lunch was the fact that when your clientele, you haven't had a ton of opportunity yet to judge new clientele, and you're able to convince them. But what is the difference? What have your patients, current existing patients, and what you can tell from your new patients? How have they received the space differently?
Right. They've received it so warmly. It's mind blowing. So for instance, like I had never thought about doing a hospitality area ever. I didn't cross my mind like, oh, waste of money. I don't want to have to manage it. And then I started talking with you guys and seeing other clinics that were doing it. I said, let's try this. So we added a hospitality cart with some hot teas and honey and all organic, and that little touch, our existing patient base blown away. It was like we, I don't know, bought them dinner or something. So that has been impeccable. The other thing, just the overall feel of the space from the patient's perspective, they come in and they're just like, wow, this is awesome. You guys nailed it. And for me personally, as I kind of touched on at lunch, I feel like it's home, whereas my other, it was kind of like, my last clinic, it was more like I was in some place that was just, it was really nice and it was high-end finishes and very cool, but it didn't feel like mine. But through your design process, you brought to life what I had up here, and that's why I feel so at home.
Wow, that's great. And it's in line with your demographics and your patient base and what they would love, and
absolutely,
and they're comfortable with it and stuff too.
Yeah, they love it.
So we also talked a little bit at lunch about how has it. So what we believe is that when you create the environment that you need, it creates not only functionally, it flows like it needs to, but it's your image, which you just talked about, and it creates a culture.
Right.
But ultimately, that is to help you be more successful.
Right.
Those 3 elements are to. So, what do you feel right now about your success going forward, or anything that you can tell me at this point?
Yeah, I can tell you that culture comment that you just made. That's something that it's hard to quantify, but we feel it here more than ever. It's just like our patients feel at home. And while we've only been in this spot now like maybe 5-6 weeks, referrals are happening, even though it's a new, it's two miles down the road. It's not where it was. There was a lot of change, but people are still referring, and our patients just love this place. So we're now that we have this newer, fresher identity that's more us, I think it's really improved my team's confidence.
Wow.
And my team's ability to convey what it is that we do here, quite honestly. And they feel so much more at home and comfortable here that their conversations, their interactions with people are much more I don't want to use the word real. It's just more real.
And more congruent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Where things are kind of all playing together.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so would you have any advice you'd give to any other chiropractor that was in your position before they, you were in a unique position.
Right.
You had 4 clinics and you decided to go back to one and kind of really focus on the one, and so that's really different.
Yeah, I'd say for a doc in my position would be do what is in your heart and in your mind, right? And if you don't have the skill set to bring that to life in your clinic, get help, because you guys totally helped me do that. And I'll hear the patients comment all the time. They say, "Oh my gosh, who did who did the design, or did this and that? Who came up with this?" I said, "Well, the feel was my idea. This is kind of the feel I wanted, but there's no way I could have done this. So we hired a designer.
Right.
CrossFields is great in that concept. So I would just say, you know what, chiropractor, your image is huge. Make sure your image is good. I mean, even we talked about even just a coat of paint, right?
Right.
It's a start, but something to really make that image powerful, and that impact when people walk into your place. That first impression, there's nothing like it. So, get your image right, figure out what you want, bring it to life, and then live it out. And
so you've got this is kind of another thing, is standing out. How do you stand out against the other chiropractors in the area?
I might be biased, I guess, but I think we stand out. We're in the top 1%.
Yeah.
I really do. I believe that, not just in our look, our feel, our culture, our brand, our clinic, our design, but also in our results. But the results come highly because of the experience, the trust, the image, all that. People walk in and they say, "Wow, these guys, they know what they're doing, and I like the way this feels."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any closing remarks?
Let's see. Closing remarks. I would say, listen, anything in business is an investment. When you make investments in your business, it needs to obviously have a return, and we know the whole ROI thing. And I think while we talked a little bit about it's difficult to quantify the ROI of having a design done in your clinic and having it look and feel amazing, there's no doubt that there is a value to that, a huge value and a huge return on your investment. And I would say it's probably besides you being confident as a practitioner, your skill set, that image, feel, and vibration in your clinic is, if not equal, it's just below that skill set that you need as a practitioner to really return on your investment. So I'd just say, invest in your image, invest in your clinic, and make it you.